here next week.
Maybe.
Did you? Yeah, that was what they call it. Anyway, my friend Rick thought sent me that. Okay.
Is Lauren coming?
I don't know.
Oh, sure, he's on the agenda.
Did Lauren get a hold of you?
I know he did.
He told me last week that last week, I don't think he plans on being here.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
He said he means so, because he called me because I put him on the observatory fuel reduction contract as the talker. And he texted me and said, hey, I'm not gonna, be able to make that meeting. He had a prior engagement, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Ellie's in Hawaii. Yeah.
Where?
Hawaii.
wow.
Sounds
And
right.
that's
Yeah.
tomorrow, day after tomorrow.
I
And you see a whole bunch of different shows.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know. I want to go. Actually, Tara, she's gonna come out very good. Tara Lindsay, she's the librarian.
Oh, yeah, yeah, she's going with you?
Yeah, we went to Hawaii in October together and to Morgan. And so the two of them are gonna meet my sister and I out there. They're not coming to us Monday. My sister and I are driving. Yeah.
Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Hi, Luke. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Around sea state capitals. So we always have things with those state capitals in my grandma, so.
Do you
We're
get a lot
gonna be
of
gone for
people?
12 days.
Where are you going?
We're going to New York, so that they can get over there. Yeah, Mr. Smith.
Okay.
It's exciting. And then we're just like, after we go there, I'm gonna go.
Well,
And
then I report.
It's gonna be, it's gonna be a lot of work. Jennifer can do a lot of work sometimes, but it's okay. You know, it's worth it. He gets to see things that never thought he would see. I told him, I said, have you looked at things? Let's start checking that bucket list stuff off. So.
I'm so glad.
So we're gonna go. It's gonna be fun.
Well, the food ought to be great. I mean,
Yeah.
You know, well, that's
Yeah.
one positive thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
You have about 15 seconds. It might be a minute 15.
Well, mine said 59 on my phone, so.
Yeah, 10 seconds. There you go.
Been trying 30 years now.
So practicing not hitting for my window over here with my chair, trying to get up. Wow.
Yep.
That's it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. Thanks, everyone. Welcome to a regular Goldendale City Council meeting for April 15th. I'll go ahead and take roll call today. Steve Johnston. Here. Theon Wheeler.
Here.
Andy Holm. Here. Danielle Clevedon.
Here.
Mylan Walling.
Here.
And we received calls from Ellie Casey and Lauren Mager that they weren't going to be able to attend today.
I put a move to be excused.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to excuse both Ellie Casey and Lauren Mager. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is closed public comment.
Oh.
This is a public comment time for anything to do with the agenda. Is there anybody in the room that has a public comment on the agenda? Anybody on the line that has a public comment for the agenda? Nobody saying anything on the line? Okay, no public comment for the agenda yet. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda and the consent agenda.
I move to approve the agenda and consent agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the agenda and the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda for presentations. We have the Observatory Hill fuel reduction. And I'll let City Administrator Pat Munyon go ahead and
That's under council business.
sorry about that. Thank you, Andy. Next up on department reports. We'll start with City Administrator Pat Munyon.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the wastewater treatment plant started a couple weeks ago. They for the new council members, probably this is news to you. So yeah, so there's a plant project going on out there to get rid of some of the biosolids. Part of that is a grit chamber. It'll capture the grit coming in, and it's a corkscrew press that dewaters it, dumps it into a dump truck, and then we'll have a big concrete pad that's covered that we'll go dump that material on, thin it out, let it dry out and dewater, then reload that material up or either land apply it or take it out to the landfill. We haven't determined which one we're going to do yet. Why that became necessary is the aeration basin over the years, over 20-year life expectancy of the plant, or the life of as long as it's been operating, the solids had built up pretty high in it, which is causing some of the aeration system not to work well. So part of the project will actually increase and raise those up with some new aeration system to help the plant continue operating correctly. But the project's started moving forward. Hopefully, I'm not sure, I'd have to look at the calendar, but it's got a pretty long work schedule this year to be going. So the other thing we're working on is our water. We got a Public Works Trust Fund loan a few years ago. We just submitted out for requests for proposals, our bids on that. So this is replacing, over the years, the city has done a really good job with their water infrastructure and projects. But those, some of those projects have been here and there, and then there's been areas where one project didn't get tied together with the other project. That's to go back and fix those areas, which are all over town, to replace that old line that's in there between the two newer infrastructures and get that out of there. So that when we're done, the city should be, other than parts of the main line coming in, should be all over on PVC or ductile wire. The other one is the line coming in. It's a real problem, is coming in from the, I always say it wrong, Bloodgood. Yeah, that line's gonna be getting replaced and parts of it downsized. Nothing comes in from the spring anymore, but the water line goes back out there to serve people. So and then other than that, we had union negotiation next week, and we're hopefully maybe we're trying to get some more data put together to go back and do another round with them, hopefully I'm hoping by next week sometime, if we can get the information. So yes.
Back that the aeration situation is familiar. I'm familiar with it. How often have we had to address that? Do you know, you say it's the project has a 20-year place.
Well, yeah, it's a biolax system that went in there. It's added. Okay, so all plants, when they're constructed, they last longer than 20 years.
Right.
But they call them a 20-year plant. And the reason why is the EPA and Department of College rules and regulations change so much So in other words, it's every 20 years, they're gonna come back and evaluate how the system's doing. Obviously, after 20 years, the plant's gonna need some improvements. Some of the other issues we do have that are gonna be down the line with the plant is there's the clarifiers, there's no way to drain them. How the system was built to maintain. So everything's supposed to be try to be maintained up above, but the rakes and stuff are all down below, and we know it's hanging up on something. So there were some issues, but it's at some point, down the line, the aeration basin will probably remain there forever for the next 50 years. But if you expand, you'll probably build another aeration basin and then put two larger clarifiers in. And then that will suffice for the plant for the, hopefully in the next 50 years after that. So.
Well, where, in regards to this, where are we at on that, overhaul of our treatment plant out there? I mean, we were supposed to.
Well, that's what we're doing right now.
With that $4 million
That
grant money and everything, that's part of it.
this is part of it, yes.
I'd add on that, I'd encourage anybody who wants to take a tour of the wastewater treatment plant. I was out there a couple weeks ago, and sometimes it's a lot easier to understand what's going on if you can get your eyes on it. So I've talked to the operators out at the wastewater treatment plant. Anyone, the council members who wants to, let us know. We'll set up a time and you can go out there and get a full tour. It really helps you understand what the needs are and what's going on out there. If you can get your eyes on it and talk to the operators out there, it really helps out. So let us know if anybody wants to go check out the wastewater treatment plant.
Yeah, Mayor, a number of years ago, I think we got a bus, maybe it was a city bus or whatever, and we all went out there. Did you go, Andy, or?
I wasn't.
Okay.
I'd be interested.
Yeah, yeah. And I know you think it's gonna stink real bad out there, but it doesn't. That's a myth. It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Anything else, Pat?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
Chief of Police, Mike Smith.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, things have just been going busy. Last month we had 285 calls to service. We had 6 arrests, 8 different criminal citations with that. And so things have just been consistently busy. I figured the weather would kind of calm things down. It hasn't, so we're still just on schedule for another record year. We're just holding tight, still have the one spot open, trying to get that filled. Got a few candidates that are maybe interested, so we're just still kind of doing that. I did find out with the pay incentive, that is still good until the end of 2024.
Right.
So won't be addressing that with council.
Excellent. Thank you, Chief. Okay, now we'll move on to the council business. And the next thing is the Observatory Hill fire reduction.
Yeah, this is they've kind of the contract with the conservation district next door for going up there and performing work this summer. This is the reason why this is going to be greater than a 1-year contract, so it's come before the council. It'll probably part of the work will take place this year and part of the work will take place next year.
What is involved? I mean, I know it.
Well, it was, I wish Lauren could have been here tonight.
Absolutely. Lauren started working on this months and months and months ago. When we first started talking about addressing that.
Yeah, they're gonna be trimming up some of the trees and topping and thinning some stuff still, but basically what we're trying to do is get all the dead material out of there. And obviously, I talked to here again, I would recommend you get a hold of Lauren, but there's things that we've talked about. I asked him about if he planned on replanting any trees. And he said, no, he didn't see any reason for it because they're just going to end back up full of beetles. You know, what do you call it? The oak trees that are up there are better suited and they won't bother those and just let them chill in would probably be a better solution. And but I'm sure he'll be here hopefully at the next meeting and you can address him a little bit more on the questions you have.
Right, yeah, because I know, that situation has been evolving for years. And it's been, I'm gonna take a leap here, probably 10 years. Prior to that, the city would go up there periodically and take down a few of the dead ones, but they let it go quite some time and it got to the point where it was at now. I'm just curious, this is gonna be done by Conservation District on top of what the city's already done.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, they would have, had we waited, they'd have probably taken care of all that work the city already did.
Well, yeah, but so
I mean, it kind of knee-jerk there with situations been there for years. I mean, it better. I'm glad you got on, for sure, but we could have used our resources somewhere else.
well, yeah.
District them.
You know, we just were trying to get ahead of the jump before fire season, but and that really that was in the back of our, the grant wasn't our primary thing we were thinking about at the point when we decided to go do it. It was, fire control.
Oh, no, I understand.
So,
And we were able to get up there in the winter and do a lot of burning,
yeah,
where, pretty soon we're not gonna be able to do that.
Well, the language in here, as far as the Conservation District says, that's what they're gonna be doing also. So.
Yeah, I was wondering just how much they did last fall. I know they worked at it quite a bit, but I don't know what percent that they got.
well, there's still
Looking down. So, I bet
a lot
there
of
is.
stuff to do up
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Oh, I can see that. When I've gone up there.
Is this something we could probably table until Lauren's here?
I think
That's
so.
kind of how like Billy is. I move
I
to
agree.
table this.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor of tabling this issue for the next meeting?
All
Right.
Yeah,
Okay, this will be tabled until the next meeting then. Thank you, everybody. Okay, next item on council business is the Washington State Department of Commerce contract to do with the electrification of transportation systems. And on the line, we have from the State Department of Commerce, we have Caitlin, or is it Tanya?
So I'm here to represent Energy Northwest. I'm Tanya Dion, project
Oh.
developer.
Okay, hi Tanya.
I'm not sure if Caitlin joined us tonight.
I don't see anybody else. So we'll just go with you, Tanya. Nice to have you. Thanks for joining us on the line there. And I'll let you go ahead and kind of explain to the council what this project entails and what role the city will have in it.
All right, thanks, Dave. So I don't know if any of the council members are familiar with the interlocal agreement that Energy Northwest signed with the city of Goldendale probably a good year and a half ago. We entered an agreement with the city to put in for grant funding through the Department of Commerce, which we were successfully awarded through this grant. Energy Northwest has interest in putting in EV charging, electric vehicle charging station at the Townhouse Cafe there on East Broadway. We plan on working with the utility to pull power and install a one DC fast charger and one level 2 charger at that location. So this has been a project that Energy Northwest has worked on for a good 2.5 years. We had pursued funding on our own and were passed up the first time through Department of Commerce. And the second time Energy Northwest wasn't a qualified applicant. So we partnered with the city of Goldendale to put in for this opportunity as a pass-through grant for the funding for the project. So I don't know how detailed you want me to get. We do have a lease agreement in place with the landowner at Townhouse Cafe. They are also on board with the project and are interested. There's some revenue sharing with that landowner that'll take place based on the usage that we see from those chargers. Klickitat County, even though the current residents in Klickitat County, there's not a large number of electric vehicle owners. There's a lot of traffic and tourists, in particular tourist traffic that goes between the Yakima Valley and Tri-Cities area down through Goldendale and on through State Route 14 towards Portland. So this project is the City of Goldendale project is one of 3 separate grants that we got approved. The project entails installing EV chargers there in Goldendale, another grant for the city of Bingen, and another grant through the Port of Skamania for installing chargers in Stevenson. Currently, there's no DC fast charging on the Washington side of State Route 14. I think the closest fast charger to you guys is in Wapato. And then the next closest would be on the Oregon side off of I-84. So the idea is to build the EV charging through the Columbia Gorge there on the Washington side and draw tourists to the Washington side of the state and alleviate range anxiety for those electric vehicle drivers that would like to take that route. As far as the city's role in this, Energy Northwest is constructing, owning, and operating these charging stations. So the city's role is fairly minor. It is you're going to be the holder of the grant. You are the manager of the money, but Energy Northwest will do all of the work and help with the invoicing process with Commerce. And then City of Grandview would be reimbursing Energy Northwest for the amount in the grant. Dave, am I missing anything that you can think of?
Tanya, now that council has
Yeah, but Tanya, how many did you say were gonna be put in Goldendale?
One DC fast charger, it'll be 100 kilowatt per hour DC fast charger, and one level 2 charger that's capable of charging at a little over 7 kilowatts per hour.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I have, so we are responsible for the contract at the city and also the insurance, I'm assuming, it's all marked out here.
So for the duration of the contract, the city does have to carry insurance in case of a default situation, but Energy Northwest is actually going to carry the insurance for the chargers themselves and the site. So for the duration of the contract, the insurance liability is on the city until the project is complete.
Anybody else have any questions for staff or Tanya? Yes.
I just have a quick question. So the non-state match of $27,800 is coming from the city, is that correct?
No, ma'am. Energy Northwest is covering that match.
Okay, perfect. That's what I was wanting to hear. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have any questions or comments concerning this? Yes, Steve.
I'm not a big supporter of any of this green energy programs that's been pushed on us, that's being pushed everywhere. I think it's just a shell game by state and federal governments to funnel money and funds. And because of that, I won't vote in favor of it. Said my piece, and I would advise a word of caution to everybody whenever we're dealing with the state. Give it a lot of thought. Just be cautious.
Steve, I look at it, it could be economic for the city. You come in, charge your car, well, let's stay and have dinner. Let's go downtown and whatever.
But like just the comment was already made, there are not that many electric cars, especially driving these long distances. These electric cars that are being produced now have a very short range. They're not long range vehicles. They're not driving from Portland to Yakima.
Yeah, and I know that sales of electric vehicles has gone down. I've seen that, yeah.
No, the whole thing is falling apart
Yeah.
around their ears. They've got a ton of money on their hands. And they're spending it and trying to make it look good. You know, call what you want. That's what I call it.
Thank you, Steve. Is anybody else who hasn't got a chance to make a statement or ask a question wish to do so?
I think that this is what the future is gonna be, like it or not. I mean, I would have a gas powered vehicle. I agree with Steve in that sense, but at the same time, it's the way of the future. And there is quite a few electric cars in this community. I've seen them myself. I rode in a few of them, so that's just my opinion.
Again. Any comment from administration? Pat?
No, I'm wise enough not to get into that topic.
Okay, if there's everybody's had a chance to review the contract and everybody knows what we're in for there with the contract. So that being said, do we have a motion?
I move to approve the mayor to sign the contract agreement with the Washington State Department of Commerce.
I second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion before I call for a vote?
Yes, I just have one more question. So, what, in regards to, the power company, the Northwest Energy, they are the ones that would be deciding what would happen in the future to it, or what would be happening if we choose to do anything in the future with that area, with the EV, outlets there.
With the station?
Yes, with this station. Basically, what I'm asking is what would the state have in, what's their involvement? The state's involvement.
So the state requires a 5-year lifetime of the EV station once it is operational. That's part of the requirement. Energy Northwest has already entered a 5-year lease agreement with the landowner for those stations. So the onus is on us to maintain that station for 5 years. The lease agreement has an option to extend. We have every intention on extending that lease for the lifetime of those EV chargers. What would happen to them is if at some point Energy Northwest, because we are the owner of the chargers themselves, if Energy Northwest sees high usage and wants to expand on the project, we could do that. We would work with Klickitat PUD in making sure that the power is upgraded as such. We have to do that for this project anyway, but if we decide to expand in the future, we would work with the utility and the landowner to expand the project on their property.
Okay, having said that, then if you're looking for the usage amount, what happens if the usage is so little that it's not worth it? Then what would happen? Would the contract be stopped before the 5-year period?
No, you can't. It's a 5-year lifetime period. You have to, at least for 5 years, you have to have them operating for 5 years. And Commerce will monitor that with us. Even after the close of the contract, as far as the financial agreement between Energy Northwest and the city, Commerce will still request updates on usage and usage reports from us. In addition to that, if we're seeing low usage, there's things that we can do. We've seen low usage in some other areas, but that is the funding that's coming from this is a large portion of this project. So basically, we've built a business case showing where we're going to see a payoff before that 5-year period, and so we don't anticipate a problem with that.
You have another question?
Yes.
Who's gonna service the stations if there is anything that goes south with them, or
Well, they're the owners.
somebody runs into one or?
No, that's a good question. Yeah, although we're the owner, we actually we pay for an annual maintenance agreement with Flow is the manufacturer that we're actually going to purchase these chargers from, and we purchase their highest possible performance warranty, and for the maintenance and the parts. So we would pay for any parts, and that maintenance plan pays for any labor. And it's a fairly, I'd say, robust maintenance program that they have, that we own 20 other charging stations around the state, and we've taken advantage of this, actually fairly recently at our Grandview station, they notify us. We're able to look and see if a charger's down, but they notified us and they had someone out there in 3 weeks to fix it. It was a power module they had to replace. So it's a fairly robust maintenance program that we actually pay for on a yearly basis with them. And we have, as part of this this contract, my plan is, and I haven't because the funding's not approved yet, I haven't purchased anything, but we plan on paying upfront for 5 years of the maintenance and network agreements that we need to with Flow. So that'll be part of the initial purchase of the chargers.
She also had asked though about if somebody runs into them.
Yeah, so that's why we carry insurance on them. So that's
Okay,
on
I
us.
got you.
It is on us to replace them. Correct. We had a recent example in Ellensburg where a driver drove off with the charger still in his car. It's the closest that we can understand what happened there, similar to a gas pump. They were plugged in and they drove off with it still charging, and it ripped the cord out of the charger. And again, that's on us. We paid for the parts and we had that charger cord replaced.
Thank you, Tanya. Unless there's any other questions or comments, I have a motion and a second.
I just wanted one more comment.
Yeah.
Oh, they say there's not a lot of traffic with it right now, but the more chargers they put in the area, the more people will travel to those areas. Yeah, keep that in mind also.
Thank you, Andy. Anyone else? Okay, I have a motion and a second. I'm gonna call for a vote now. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, that motion passes. Thank you, Tanya, for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We'll talk to you soon. Okay, next item on the agenda. Under resolutions, the airport aid application, and Rick Lundeen will be presenting.
Yes, I will.
Yes, thank you, Rick.
So this was originally scheduled with WashDOT for a $785,000 program, and we actually would like to revise it down. The $785,000 is not gonna build much. What we'd like to ask for instead is $360,000. That will let us do all of the phase 1 engineering work that we need to do. We can start mitigating the wetlands issue that we have to the north, and put the drainage we need under the runway. So it would be a $360,000 project. $342,000 would come from aviation funds, and $18,000 would be the local funds.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Excuse me, one comment.
Yes.
Richard, I think on the application you mentioned, you said it was the 3rd congressional district. It's the 4th. We're in the 4th.
Did we change?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we do that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I can change.
Yeah, we're in the 4th. Yeah, right. Yeah. And because that's Newhouse, Congressman Newhouse now is our congressman. And then also I know this could be, who knows about the legislative district? I guess we're going to be going in the 17th, but maybe that hasn't been put in effect yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a little minor thing. Good job.
Steve.
As everybody knows, I've supported the efforts to beef out and expand the airport. Mostly because of grant monies and funding. I am not going to support using local funds. That airport is never going to meet what is that standard? NISA or whatever, what is it?
Are you talking about NIPIAS?
Yes.
Oh, that's not necessarily true. That's the direction we're going.
That's the direction you're going.
Well, it's.
But it's gonna be a ways down the road. And even in that length of time. That airport serves about 1/10 of 1% of the people in this community. I know you talked a lot about the possibility of bringing in, commerce or whatever. But I think we're getting ahead of ourselves in some respect. And again, my main concern is the city having to foot the bill on any of that other than minor maintenance like we've done over the years.
Well, just to argue that point, Steve, that we haven't had those things, so that's why people don't use it. So we haven't had fuel, people haven't used it because we haven't had fuel. We got fuel now it opens the opportunity of people using the fuel. Have a longer runway, DNR can use it on their bigger planes to come in there and fight fire if this forest up here ever catches fire. Instead of going down to the river, taking double the amount of time, they could fuel things up here at the airport. So that's something to keep in mind also.
Then also like
Yep.
safety concern. I
Yep.
think we've been talking about, I don't know how long, 10, 15 years, been talking about doing improvements to the airport here.
At least 12 years.
12 years.
At least 12 years. I've been on here for 12 years.
15, yeah.
Yep.
You know, I just,
And come back with your statements you made that our port has handled those issues before. We have been able to address our fire problems adequately with the resources that are available.
Better resources.
Lifelight has used that before. Lifelight has a landing pad at the hospital.
For the helicopter. Not for the plane. I mean,
Anybody else have any,
I have a question about the fuel taxes. So I understand this is gonna be great for the economy possibly. How much is the city getting for the taxes, the fuel? Or is there anything in place right now for that? For the selling of the taxes?
The city makes a profit on every gallon that we sell. And the taxes are all, there's a number of taxes. The main ones are petroleum products tax, hazardous substance tax, and sales tax, and those are all covered in the cost of the sale. And the city is right now clearing about $1 a gallon. And because we're competing we're making it attractive. So instead of flying to Hood River, they stop and land here and buy gas instead, which introduces them to the community, and that's the goal.
Thank you.
thank you, Danielle. Yes, Steve.
I think one of the biggest goals we need to establish here for the airport is that it eventually becomes self-sustaining.
And
that's what the committee's been doing.
goal.
That's what the committee has been doing. That's why they're doing all this stuff to make it better, to make it self-sufficient. This is part of that.
Can start generating some revenue up there with the different projects that we have in mind. Not only the sale of the fuel, but possible hangars and
Well, even renting the tie downs down,
renting the tie downs, yeah.
instead of just storing your airplane up there for free. You know, that after so many days, you start paying
Absolutely.
usually they're fairly cheap fees, like $1 a day or something like that, so.
When I would hate to see another good grant that we could use go by. I mean, cause how long would we have to wait for another grant like this to come along?
There is and I'm gonna say it's 20, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 23 to 25 is what this grant looks like. And it's money that is plugged in to be funded. They don't have to fund it. They can come back and say, no, we're not gonna do it this year, talk to us next year. So I don't know that we're gonna get this money, but it's in the budget. We didn't ask for it last year because we wanted to do the fuel tank and the land purchase. So we asked for that money instead. So this time we're saying we're ultimately going to get federal funds to widen the runway, but this would be the first step into getting it rolling.
And that we need to solve some issues up front. Great. Well, thank you. I think everybody's had a chance to get their questions answered. At this time, I'll call for a motion.
I move to approve the resolution number 721, authorizing the city administrator to sign the grant application documents with the Washington State Department of Transportation for the airport aeronautics grant, with whatever corrections that Mylan had stated.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion before I call for a vote? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Rick, for all your hard work and the airport committee on our behalf. Much appreciated. You. Thank you for your support. Thank you. Okay, next item up is under ordinances. The ordinance number 1537, the utility rate reduction for seniors.
Yeah, this is an ordinance the city already had. It was been quite some time since it was updated. And with the current rate structure and inflation that has occurred over the several years, that the yearly income data provided for the eligibility, whether it's at 10, 20, 30, or 40%, was so out of whack that no one can actually even meet those standards to get hardly any type of reduction. I think there was a few that could, wasn't there? But what we want to do is, fix that problem with now that we got a new rate structure in. This is basically the current stats for based on what's out there. We made those adjustments, and this is probably one of those things that should be looked at every at least 2 years and probably readjusted to make it feasible. If that's what the city council wants to offer a program like this, we need to make it feasible that people actually can utilize it.
Thank you, Pat.
That are in need.
Yes, Danielle.
So as I was reading through this earlier, I didn't see any of the old highlighted or the old rates.
Yeah,
at all. So
I
is there
couldn't get it to attach, so if you want to come in tomorrow, I'm more glad to show them to you. So
I think that's important for all of us to see prior to us making any decision on this.
yeah, we had trouble getting them I had trouble getting them to attach in here, so.
Yes, Steve.
Does this apply to an elderly person, regardless of whether they're a homeowner or a tenant?
They have to be a homeowner.
I don't know, I did.
Definition of homeowner.
The person making the claim must reside in the premises for which the rate reduction claim is being made. That's all it says is reside.
So yeah, they don't have to be the homeowner, they just have to live in the home structure.
Great. Anybody else have a question or comment? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I move to approve the ordinance 1537 utility rate reduction for low income elderly persons.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Before I call for a vote, is there any further discussion?
Again, I think that we need to see the old ratings prior to us making a decision on this. I think it's important for all of us to see where it was and see what the changes are.
Well, Pat, you said that they were, it was harder for them, right? Now it's easier.
Yes, but did the
Well,
jump
no.
go up 50% or did it go up, a little percentage? I think we need to, for our due diligence with our funding, see what the difference is.
Understood.
It's up to you. You guys have a motion, so
Yeah.
one way or the other, you gotta vote it up or down.
Yeah, I have a motion and a second. I can accept any further comment before I call for a vote.
I'd like,
With Steve.
could we table this?
Mhm.
You have a motion on the table.
So can she retract her motion or?
I can retract the motion. When would this need to go into effect?
All you gotta do is vote it down and then we can bring it back next time.
Yeah, we could do
It's
that.
that would be a lot
Let's
easier to
just
track.
vote and then.
Okay.
Cause I mean, if it's a better, I mean, as far as the numbers that you're talking about, it just goes by their.
Actually, we could probably look him up.
It just
right
goes
on
by their
computer
yearly
right now.
income.
I guess that's
so-
kind of where I'm at. It goes
Now-
up their income. I don't.
Go to
So
familiar.
if they're just giving them a better chance now than they had before, because
I
they
can
had.
go on my computer.
I still think it's important for us to
Can
see
you
the
go-
difference
You
of
want
what it was.
The ones before you.
Yeah.
So regardless, I will
Chapter
not
13.
vote for.
So
it
she's
this
gonna
time
go
unless
get
we
a
have
copy
it.
of it right
She's
now.
gonna go
so-
grab the other
Okay.
numbers.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. We'll pause for a few minutes. If anybody needs a drink of water.
When you're
Sure,
working.
I'll take your dough.
Need some elevator music.
And you want to show us what they were, they are now.
Please hold.
Do you want a copy for everybody or does everyone want to pass a copy?
Pass it.
If you just back around, you could probably just share, take a looks at it, the old one or the new one proposed. Right here, so. So from 10 to 14. And then, so it went up $20,000 and that's kind of why I was wanting to see this. That's
Well,
quite a big,
look at the year.
2011, yes.
Yes.
And
That's
so
a
I'm
long
just trying to,
time,
in my brain, do some type of calculation as far as, increases in payments. You were.
Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
I do have another question.
Yeah.
How would this apply to, now, you're reckoning it at an individual that resides at an address. Historically or traditionally, individuals pay for the water, even if they are just a tenant. But there are exceptions where landlord or property owner with multiple addresses pays for the water. How would that apply? Or would it apply?
Well, it's intended to help elderly people that are financially struggling is the point of what I read of this ordinance. So I didn't change anything actually in the ordinance itself of its intent. It was, as she pointed out, it was in 2011, the last time this was ever discussed. The rates have gone up several times since then. We know there's going to be some other impacts coming down the road, and we should probably be checking this every couple of years, as I said, to make sure if this is the council's intent to keep this ordinance, we want to make it show it can do the intent it was adopted for, which was to help people with their water utility bills, depending on their financial status, water and wastewater utility bills. And I mean, the choice is your guys. What all staff was trying to do was be due diligent and take something that was completely out of date on an ordinance and update it to the current status. We weren't trying to change policy or anything.
What I mentioned was a technicality.
So on that note, maybe we could just add under the 13.05.030 eligible housing area, have it say at the time of application, the person making the claim must reside in the premises and be the payee of the utilities for which the rate reduction claim is being made.
Yeah.
Adding that into the language.
You have that all written out?
I do. I'll hand it to you.
Surely.
Well, you're right, and
Use it.
clarity.
if you can read my writing. I make a move to, or.
Then there it is.
Yeah, I have a motion and a second.
So she's gonna have to be, so me and Fiona are gonna have to be okay with that
Yeah,
change,
yeah.
correct? Is that how that works, Pat?
Yes.
So a
Okay,
motion to amend the,
the motion to say, I don't know what you had in it.
Okay,
But hold on, it's.
I move to approve ordinance 13, utility rate reduction with the correction of under 13.05.030, under eligible housing, it to read reside in the premises and be the payee of the utilities for which the rate reduction claim is being made, with the addition of those words.
So you're saying you just made a motion to modify the motion on the table?
Well,
The motion.
Move, there we
that's-
go, there we go.
Yeah,
She's moving to amend it, to say that,
Yeah.
to say that.
Yes.
yeah, I'm okay with seconding that still.
Okay, I have a motion and a second with an amendment to the motion. No further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to report of officers. Start with Mylan.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. No, I know, I guess, I think, Phil, that we've accomplished a lot at this council meeting, and we're moving forward, which is, I think, is a good thing.
Great, thank you, Mylan. Danielle.
I have a few things, sorry, please, So, as we spoke earlier, Pat, if you could just look about the replay for the asphalt treatment and get back to us in regards to that, to see if that could be feasible for us helping with our streets and or sidewalks.
Sounds like a very interesting product.
I think so too.
Product, yeah.
I think so too. We just found a product that was very, very good. It seems like it might work well for our little community here. Also, a reminder about the garbage cleanup on May 11th at 9 o'clock at the courthouse, if you're willing or wanting to volunteer for that. And if you have any questions, Kenzie can be contacted at 509-773-4448. Please help your neighbors get their trash or unwanted things out to the curbside that morning of, so that we can get rid of as much as possible and make our town look beautiful. We need art vendors for the art festival for September 7th. So if you're interested, please contact the Chamber of Commerce. Also, I'd like to bring up the property that's on the corner of Broadway and Columbus, and see if we can't look into it for possibly utilizing it as a parking lot for our downtown businesses. See if there's any reasonings why we couldn't, anything that could stop us, things of that nature. But bottom line is, I just would like it to be looked at and looked into. That might be a possible solution for some of the issues that our employees and employers and businesses have downtown. I also propose that we have a budget meeting with all of the council, so it would be an open forum for us to prioritize the budget for this coming year. I know that we'll be getting together in October, but I think we need to start talking about it now to get the priorities of what we want to see to move forward for our town, and ask for the community to let us know if there are any pressing things that they are really interested in, so that we can discuss those at the same time. And during that meeting, I'd like to talk about the AWC training that they have, and see if we could possibly have 2 people per trainings go to do those. Most of them are free for us, since we are a town of less than 5,000. And I think it would be great for us to get some subject matter experts in some of these areas, so that we can all do a better job in these positions. That's all.
Thank you, Danielle. Andy.
Just want to say, I appreciate all the conversation we've had tonight. Good
Mhm.
conversations.
Great, thank you, Andy. Fiona.
I would have to say the same. I'm glad we were able to go over some of this stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve.
a public works committee meeting.
Yes,
When could we schedule one?
let's get together tomorrow. I'll give you a call tomorrow and see if we can get one. I'd need to talk to Lauren still on there, correct?
Yes.
And you and Dion.
Austin is partially how to work with the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Lauren knows the subject. I brought it to, I already talked to him about it, so he's aware.
That would be the agenda items.
Yeah, that's the agenda items, yeah.
Anything else we might be able to throw at the wall?
Yeah.
We got everybody pinned down.
Yeah.
Also, thank you. Thank you. I'll come back and get a hold of them. I would like to make a motion that we show as a group here a declaration of support for our county sheriff and Commissioner Dan Christopher for the position they've taken on this latest jail fiasco. The two commissioners that have decided to throw it under the bus are definitely not on our side. They're trying to do some damage control, fiscal irresponsibility, nothing else, and they're playing politics. And we have a sheriff and a county commissioner that are standing up against that, against the closure. And I think it would be important and very helpful if we showed, like I say, a declaration of support for them. This is our town. I know it's a county jail, but it's in Goldendale. And there's a lot at stake. And to close it down is not an option. Fix the problem.
Yes, Pat.
So I know it's your guys' turn to speak, but just to, maybe we could set up a meeting with Commissioner Zoller. Because I know Dave and I have been made privy to some information that I think that would help you guys make it, if she could explain it firsthand, their position, because they're not, they are trying to look at, and I don't want to get into a bunch of details because I'm not the expert on that. That's up to their to do it, but what do you call it? Not a prison, but
Jail.
well, not a jail, but there's another word for it.
Correction facility.
There you go. So they're trying to establish more of a correction facility format other than the current jail system they have
But here,
yes.
I think we need to, be mindful. First off, this is a report of officers. It's not necessarily a time to make a motion. We also need to think about what our responsibilities are as city legislature and administration, and doing the best for what we're responsible for, as opposed to what the county commissioners are responsible for. Obviously, this is a decision that's going to impact the city of Goldendale. When we're having ongoing talks, nothing's been resolved yet, but to come out and take sides in a thing like this with particular people, everybody has their own, opinion on the matter, but we need to do what's best for the city of Goldendale and the people who work for the city of Goldendale and the people who live in the city of Goldendale. And that's our responsibility. Now, we're not silent in this. We're having ongoing talks with the county commissioners, the sheriff. I've met with the sheriff. I've met with the county commissioner chair. I've taken a tour of the jail for myself to see for myself what's going on there, what it looks like. And it's an ongoing problem that we're going to be involved in discussions with. We've made that clear with the county that we want to be involved in any further discussions and decisions and what's going on there, but that's my say on it.
So I agree with you, Mayor. I think we need to get more information on this before making any decisions.
Yeah, I'm with Mylan and Dave. I don't even know all the things. I don't agree with the jail being closed down at all. I mean, I agree with that on that, but I don't think the city should take a stance without knowing everything. Because then we're doing the same thing what they've done, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Well, there certainly is a lot of information yet to come. That we don't know about.
Yeah, I think that maybe the mayor can talk to Commissioner Zoller.
Absolutely.
Would
And
you call a special
um,
meeting for that?
see if she's willing to come and meet with the council, which I'm assuming she would be more than willing to, and explain all the issues that they're looking at, why they have concerns with what was, what the current state is, how they can fix that, and those other options and what other services they can provide. Because it's a very broad range of information out there with different levels, and I think that's better coming from her than us.
I absolutely agree, but as far as having a presentation to the council, this information we're talking about needs to be presented to the public.
Well, I was really hoping to hear about that tomorrow in their meeting, but they canceled it.
Anyway,
We could go into the weeds on it,
Yeah,
for sure, and no, I'm sympathetic to the situation, as everybody else obviously is. And I just wanted to verbally, personally, publicly, let it be known that we support fixing the problem.
Absolutely.
And in that sense, if they've got plan B in place, well, we'll know about it soon enough. But to close that facility completely down is not the answer. And that's the support that I was talking about. I singled out a commissioner and a sheriff. All right. That's mainly because they're the only two that have opposed the initial action. Might have been a little knee jerk on the part of the other two commissioners, and I think that's what they're seeing. So anyway, like I said, I just wanted to make a public expression in support of fixing that problem, not just sweeping it under the rug.
Absolutely. Thank you, Steve.
So
I just want to make sure, did you make the motion or not? Because you have to make that.
I did make that.
Well,
Okay.
we should be mindful under the rules of order that under report of officers isn't really the time to make motions
Right.
and pass motions. That being said, this is a meeting of the city council. So I will leave it to you.
I will retract the motion.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We'll have some,
Thank you.
we'll have further conversations about this topic and try to do things the right way. And we just have to remember that we're here to represent the city of Goldendale. And we're gonna have further conversations with anybody that we need to have conversations with, whether it's the sheriff or the commissioners or whoever it is. And that's what our staff is dedicated to. That's what our chief of police is dedicated to, and our administration, and we will continue to be. Thank you. Okay, next up is my turn. Mine's a little bit more lighthearted, thanks. I was invited to attend to throw out the first pitch at the Little League opener this last Saturday. And I threw a fastball right down the middle of the plate, FYI. Anyway, those ball fields are looking better than they have in years. I encourage you to get down there and check it out. They look great. I walked them all. There's no signs of goat heads like their problem had been. The dugouts and storage sheds are freshly painted. They even have a deal going on with the high school where they're going to paint a mural on that Comex storage building. It's looking really good down there, and that's largely due to all the countless volunteer hours that have been put down there. So big thanks to all the volunteers who have donated their time to bring those fields up to where they are. And the high school band even showed up to play a bunch of songs, and they played the national anthem, and just a great turnout. There was hundreds of people down there, and it was just really nice to see, that area getting used and the children enjoying it, and everybody coming together for the benefit of the kids down there at our park. So that's all I had. Steve, yes.
One thing relative to that, Your Honor, are we still scheduled to have a parks meeting on the 22nd?
That'll be Monday.
Next Monday.
Yeah, next Monday.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
And
Great.
I think they're having a concert tonight, the jazz band to raise money for music at
Oh,
the
there?
school.
Oh,
Excellent.
As soon as our meeting ends.
We'll head on over there.
where's it at? High school?
At the high school.
Oh,
Okay. Well, okay, next up is open public comment. This public comment period is for any topic. Is there anybody here in the crowd or on the line that would like to make public comments? Nobody? Yes, sir. Please come on up to the podium. Please state your name and your general area of residency, please.
Gary England, Goldendale.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm here, maybe you can ask me questions more than I can. I want to talk about the airport. I've been trying to build a hangar out there for 7 years. I went down to the Dells. I already built one for my airplanes. Now I'm building another one down with. Lifeline lines in here, no sweat. They have no problems. I've flown the Pilatus, been with Forest Service for 6 years, flying Boeing bombers over the. They don't want to do it anymore. I'm too old for that. But they can go in and out. The big problem is how wide the runway is. And the reason for it, Pilatus, they can get stopped within 100 yards down the runway, but they got to turn around. And they can't, so they have to go clear the other end. They want to hurry up and get out. That's their problem. It's just the width. There's drop-offs on each side. So I'm a flight instructor, only 55 years and 20,000 hours of doing it, and I'm right there. It says stupid on for doing it, but that's what I've done. DNR will never land one of their big airplanes out here. It's just incapable of turning around, and the actual asphalt, it won't hold up. And they'd only come in here to fill up with water. That's what we've always done. They're helicopters forever, but not any airplanes. So don't plan on DNR landing their airplanes in here. Now, all our forest fires are fought with these single engine turboprops float planes. Well, they're going to go over us because they get the water. It's not, they never land here. They got enough fuel. We usually had, those guys have 7 hours of fuel on board. I just don't see why they'd ever land here even for fuel. But I've only been doing this forever. And I've managed 3 airports, designed one to be built. Privileged, I guess. But anyway, I know a little bit about airplanes. Okay, I went through Big Bend Community College as a student. And ended up going back there. I taught the high school in Moses Lake for a number of years. Then I always taught the summer programs at Big Bend Community College. So I could tell you all sorts of stories about teaching. That college actually blackballs a lot of the little airports around because of the safety problem. And ours is the width and the drop-off on the side of the runway. Central Washington University went through there. Their flight program will not let any students land here. I'm trying to think. McAllister's out of Yakima won't come here. Pasco, like, do I have to stop?
Go ahead and finish up your thoughts.
Oh, anyway, long story short, that's all it needs. Do a little safety stuff on the side of them, and they can take care of it. Now, I'm asking you, do you have any questions? That's all I do is aviation. I still teach today. I give check rides today. That's what I do. If you need some help, I'll help you out. And got the knowledge and who to call and who not to call.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
No
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Anybody got any?
I'm sure we will.
Make your phone number.
Well,
Are you already
I've been
doing
giving it to everybody for so long, I kind of gave up on it. But yeah, I'll give you my card, it's serious.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sir. Appreciate it. Anybody else here for public comment, either in person or online? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Do what?
You did say,
Oh.
Yes, okay.
No.
Check it out.
Yeah, that's pretty. Gary.
Good job.
Oh, no.
Hey, Gary.
That's Steve's, son.
Oh,
Good to see you.
So